Hey, good morning. Keith Murphy with Essex Mortgage is on the line with me. Keith, let's just jump right to it because I know you've got a busy day. We are going to talk today about the forbearances and what that means, and just want to have you take it away and give us the explanation.
Certainly. Well, first of all, Kelly, thanks for having me on live here. And this is definitely a hot topic for us to educate our clients on. Right now, we're going through very tough economic times where a lot of people are either realizing that their hours have been cut back, they've been laid off, or they may have lost their job altogether. If they're small business owners, their doors are shut unless they're considered an essential service. So very tough times indeed. And that is when forbearance comes into play to help people out. And what basically a forbearance is a reduction or a pause in mortgage payment. It's relief. And per the CARES Act, for everyone who has a federally insured mortgage, so that's FHA, Freddie Mac, Fannie Mae, VA, USDA, if you have one of those loans, you are entitled if you're suffering financial hardship. That's not to say that if your loan is privately serviced and it's not insured by the federal government, you can't receive forbearance, but it's not under the protection of the CARES Act. So my advice to everyone listening, if in fact you are suffering financial hardship and you need some help, reach out to your servicer immediately. Don't wait until your back's too far against the wall before you apply for the forbearance. There is literally a tidal wave of people right now applying for forbearance. So you've got to be patient. You might even want to be proactive, Kelly, and have your clients, or I'll have my clients, look up and see if their loan is in fact federally insured. And there's some links that we'll provide everyone so they can do so. But see if your loan is federally insured. You want to apply for the forbearance, and that can be a reduction in the mortgage payment. It could be a freeze on mortgage payments per the CARES Act. You are granted up to 180 days of relief. So that's 6 months of no payments, or maybe everything's negotiable. Maybe they could cut your payment in half for 12 months. So my number one piece of advice though is, if you're not suffering financial hardship, which 2/3 of Americans are not, okay? If you're not suffering financial hardship, don't take advantage of the system and block it for people who truly need it. There's also some legislation under the CARES Act that if they find that you really didn't suffer financial hardship and you're kind of just gaming the system to get a reduced mortgage payment temporarily, there could be significant legal repercussions to that. So be very careful. You don't want this to come bite you in the butt. And again, only use it if you need it. Some red flags to watch out for would be get everything in writing, okay? Don't agree to anything verbally, and make sure there aren't any balloon payments. So what is a balloon payment? The servicer says, sure, we'll eliminate the need for you to send in a mortgage payment for the next 6 months. No, we're not going to report it as a negative derogatory to the credit bureaus. And you agree to that. And then when you get back to work, the balance of those payments that you missed that were forbeared are now due. That's called a balloon. And you don't want that sudden surprise of dollars having to come out of your pocket when you haven't been working for the last 2, 3, 4, 6 months. So that would be number one, make sure there isn't any balloon payments. Ask them if the mortgage payment that you currently make is going to be higher in the future. Are they going to take those arrearages and re-amortize the loan, and you're going to be set with a higher payment in the future that you can't afford? Also ask, how is it going to be structured? Is this going to be a second mortgage? So the payments that you missed, is it going to be tacked on in the second mortgage that might have different terms than the first trust deed that you have right now? For instance, maybe it's got a higher interest rate, it's got a shorter amortization period. I'd ask if there's any legal fees that are going to be tacked on to the amount that you owe. These type of things you want to get out on in front of you and then get it in writing before you agree to it. I think that's pretty much it. We're kind of all learning about the forbearance process and how it works as we go along, and it really just started now. So educate yourselves, call Kelly Nelson, call myself, try to get as much education as you can if you're, suffering financial hardship.
Thanks, Keith. Yeah, I think that's probably the best way to sum it up is to contact your lender. The forms are a little bit intense to be able to fill out. You can do it, but again, I've filled those forms out with many, many clients in the past and happy to give whatever assistance that I can to help anyone that needs to get those filled out. With the latest news being that we've got almost 17 million people having filed for unemployment in this country in the last few weeks. I know it's really scary out there and there's a lot of uncertainty. Sorry, that was my phone. But with the CARES Act, there are some options for people to be able to get a little bit of relief, and just make sure that it is going to be structured properly for you and that you're not going to be overwhelmed. I think that's the main message that I'm hearing from you.
Yeah, and only take advantage of it if you need it, and if you do need it, don't let pride get in the way. Get in front of this and apply early, because like you said, these numbers are huge. It is scary, and I think Goldman Sachs came out this morning and said they're estimating that 2 to 3 out of every 10 working Americans are going to suffer financial. Not in need. Please don't get in the way of others.
Yes.
On a positive note, I think it's important that we all remember that this is a difficult and scary time, but it too shall pass, and things will get back to normal. And I believe they're going to get back to normal quickly once the virus has disseminated and the shelter in places have been lifted. You're going to see things come roaring back, and if you were laid off or lost your job, your services are going to be needed immediately. So, get ready. This won't last forever. And for the 2/3 of Americans that won't be suffering financial hardship, also look into ways of restructuring your mortgage payment to get the interest rate down. In my 26 years, as of this morning, after the additional stimulus last night by the Federal Reserve, the additional $2.3 trillion of stimulus, this morning we're seeing the lowest mortgage rates I've ever seen in 26 years. So it's a great time to refinance. And if you're secure in your employment and your income source is not going to be disrupted, and you know that and you're confident in that, and that is 2/3 of Americans, now's a great time to purchase a home or trade up or fulfill any of your real estate goals that you're thinking about. So just keep that in mind as well, that it's a great time for those that still have work.
Right. And that's pretty incredible. That 2.3 trillion, this is, we're looking at April 10th. That is in addition to the CARES Act that had a $2.3 trillion stimulus just a week ago, April 3rd, that was signed in. So I think that there is a lot of hope out there. We don't ever ask for the government to bail out everybody, but these stimulus programs are out there. And if you can take advantage of what's available to you, absolutely do it. And like you said, if you need a forbearance, it is an option for you in most cases. So let's see what we can do to encourage people to go that avenue if they only if they absolutely must do it. So thanks, Keith. I appreciate your wisdom and your experience as always. And let's hope and pray for more good things to come, and that we're all getting back to work sooner rather than later. Appreciate your time today. Thank you.
You betcha, Kelly. I'm an optimist, and I think everything will work itself out, and it's going to be sooner versus later. So let's just hope for the best. Have a great day, Kelly.
Thank you. You too, Keith. We'll talk soon.